Hello, welcome back to the University of New Hampshire and the Paul College Social Media Marketing Symposium. Again, today's session is presented by Paul College's Voice Digital Marketing Agency, and we'd like to thank the Peter T. Paul Innovation Fund for supporting this year's Social Media Symposium. The symposium is providing 7 virtual sessions over 3 days, covering a broad swath of social media, and we're excited to present the second of our 2 sessions coming up now. Before I introduce our second session, I want to briefly mention the Zoom protocols. If you wish to share a comment or ask a question publicly, you can put that into the chat. If you want to ask a question to our speakers without it showing publicly, use the Q&A tool, which we will monitor and feed your questions to Jason, and he'll address them if there is some time. And so now to introduce our next speaker is Jason Boucher. Jason is the Director of Social Media at University of New Hampshire. And he's a Portsmouth, New Hampshire-based social media digital content strategist currently working at the University of New Hampshire as a Director of Social Media with a sustained passion for digital marketing and creative content. Jason has a successful record of mobilizing diverse stakeholders to produce strategic and engaging content that drives traffic, increases engagement, and generates leads. Jason regularly participates as a speaker or panelist in many higher education and social media conferences around the United States, including CASE, EduWeb, AMA, and the Social Media Strategies Summit. He's also the creator of a blog called HESM Community and president of WSCA Portsmouth Community Radio. And as Diane Devine and I were talking about who would we love to have on this session, we were like, we've got to have Jason. And thankfully, Jason, who's been in London and just returned and hopefully is adjusting to time zones, was willing to come and join us today. And we're super excited to have him today to address the topic of using social media effectively across multiple stakeholders. Jason, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I just got back from London just a little while ago, but I'm ready to go. It's to me, it's afternoon, so I'm awake. I'm ready to go. Thank you for the introduction. I appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. I have a great presentation I put together. I updated it on the plane, so we're the latest and greatest for everybody. Let me get that for you. All right, let's see. All right. There we go. Okay. And then we'll make sure we do this proper way. Okay. All right. Thanks for everybody for joining this morning. Really do appreciate that. We're going to go over using social media effectively from my perspective in higher education. As Tom mentioned, I do run a blog called HESM, which stands for Higher Ed Social Media. So it's a bunch of directors and managers of social media in the higher ed world. And that website, I'll have a slide at the end, but basically it's just a Q&A basically with a lot of directors of social media and how they use social on their campus. And that's what HESM stands for, Higher Ed Social Media. So without further ado, let's look at this, go forward. Higher education, so proper stakeholders, right? Who are they? Well, are they prospective students, current students, faculty, staff, parents, alumni, the general just community of UNH and the Seacoast? Is it our local and state federal government? The answer is yes, it's all of the above. So we're talking to a lot of people on social media, and it just depends on the channels that we use, the platforms that we're using, and which ones can reach that proper audience, sub-audience within our stakeholders. To get there, we use SMART goals, which stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. And we try to avoid creating goals that focus on vanity metrics, such as number of followers. You're probably well aware of, especially with younger audience and teenagers, that they love to see the size of their audience or how many followers they have. It was like that early in social media. When we first started our Twitter and our Facebook, Instagram, of course, we wanted more followers because that's how we have a larger audience. That makes sense. But after a while, with an established presence, the goals rely less on the vanity metric of number of followers and more on the engagement. And we'll get into that a little bit. So we try to align our social media goals with the university goals for marketing. So that includes an increase in applicants to UNH, an increase in donors and gifts, also website visits. We want to get people to unh.edu/wherever they're going, but to stay on our domain. So those are our marketing goals at UNH, and we try to replicate that on social media as well. Next up, our social media goals. On top of that, we try to increase brand awareness with every tweet, every Instagram post, every LinkedIn, every TikTok. We are trying to increase the awareness of the UNH brand to the general audience within our stakeholders. We're also trying to increase applicants. We want to acknowledge yield and prevent melt. So yield is basically once somebody applies to UNH, we want to make sure that they actually submit a deposit and that we see them the next fall here on campus. And preventing melt, that's just a way that, well, we don't want them to melt away in the summer. We want to keep them engaged on social media. We want to show them how great UNH is, all that we offer, and prevent people from slipping away. So that's another way we try to reach people on social. Student success and retention. I absolutely love it. I love to share student stories, whether they're research, internships, anything that has to do with success of any of our students. We love to share that on social media, and I think the more authentic, the better. We also are trying to increase alumni participation and our donor base on social media as well, mainly through the alumni social channels, but also in the main brand by sharing research and grant opportunities. This helps our alumni and the community see how well we're doing, and maybe they'll participate and make a gift or donate to the university. And again, like I said earlier, we want to increase visits to our domain unh.edu. So next, I want to take a look at something we call KPIs, or key performance indicators. You might be aware of this. It's basically a quantifiable measure used to evaluate the success of an organization or an employee or a project in meeting objectives for certain performances. So social media performance indicators that we use: reach, engagement, retention, and loyalty, and something new we call consumption data. Consumption data is with less and less people clicking or visiting your website or clicking or commenting on your Facebook post or your Instagram. We use consumption data to see if they at least consume that. So when they're scrolling by, they're on their phones and they're scrolling. Consumption data means how many people actually saw that. So they might not have taken action. They might not have read the story. They might not have clicked, but they did see it as they scrolled by, which in the back of their mind lets them know that they saw something from UNH. If they in turn see a billboard or an ad on television, it's just something that lets them know that UNH, in a positive light, that they remember seeing something on social. So it just connects the dots. So that's what we call consumption data. We just like to see how much is consumed, even if they don't take action. So we'll start with reach. Here are the KPIs for reach. And again, I put follower count in gray just because it's less and less important these days. I know Instagram also hid likes on a lot of business accounts because it's not as important as impressions or mentions or share of voice. So we want people to comment, to share, and to bookmark and just save our social posts. KPIs for engagement. So we are looking at likes or favorites is an indication that our viewers appreciate the content that we share. Comments are a direct engagement with our content. So when they comment, it means they're actually taking the effort that they care about something we posted, which is great. Sharing on social or retweeting on Twitter, it's a validation So it validates that our audience cares enough to share our content to their followers, and then it amplifies our message even more. And then lastly, click through links. So when people click on a link in a tweet or on Facebook or LinkedIn, they're going to unh.edu, which is very important. It's an indication that our content is interesting enough to learn more about UNH and to click through and visit the program or the story that we're sharing. And then KPIs for retention and loyalty, very important. So some of the key performance indicators here are reviews and ratings. So a review on Yelp or ratings. I know there's a lot of anonymous social media out there now, like Yik Yak and these things. If people are being positive on social media about UNH, then that helps us. We also want to resolve issues. So if people direct message us with concerns or questions, we want to make sure that we can get them to the proper department or college to help resolve those issues, whether it's something about a class, grades, something about health and wellness or campus rec or the MUB. We sort of are like a traffic cop there, where we try and support and help people and resolve these issues that come through the front door of social media at UNH. We also want to resolve them in a proper time. So we are always listening and trying to reply as often as we can, as soon as we can. We want to make sure that our customers are satisfied, and we want to make sure that the sentiment is positive. Okay, next is social listening. So not only do we post social media and reply to folks, but we also listen, and not in a creepy way. We like to review the comments and the mentions to see how we're trending. We like to follow conversations about the College of Liberal Arts or Paul College or Life Science and Agriculture. We like to just see what's being talked about. We like to keep track of hashtags and keywords, and we keep track of influencers and prospects. It's a great way to just listen and find out what people are thinking about UNH. And to do that, if you're looking to use these tools, here's a few free social listening tools. You can set up a Google alert on any keywords. It's free. You just log into your Google account or Google Alerts, and you can set something up today. Any phrase, keyword will work, and you'll get an email letting you know either each mention, or you can do sort of like a summary of each day. TweetDeck is owned by Twitter. It only does Twitter right now, but you can search hashtags or keywords in TweetDeck. And then Hootsuite has a very, very limited free version. It's okay because it is free, so it's not at any cost to you. And it does some very, very free social listening aspects to it, but nothing too robust. So here are the non-free ones that do a lot more. So these are complete social media management tools. They do everything from scheduling posts to save time for you. They listen. You can reply without logging into all the social media accounts. You no longer have to go to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. You can do it all right here in these platforms. So you can schedule, you can monitor, you can reply, you can listen. And what's great is that they're all logged into your social accounts, so they can run reports for you as well, which is very important to see how well you're doing. Hootsuite, Sprout Social, Buffer, Falcon, Spreadfast, and Sprinkler. Those are some of the leaders in the industry. Here at UNH, we use something called Sprout Social, which is there in green. It's a great tool. This is our second time with them. We used to use Hootsuite, but we really like Sprout Social right now. And not only do we use it here in communications and public affairs, but we have partners in all the colleges that use it as well. So as I was saying, these tools help great by managing multiple platforms at once. So I can log into Sprout and I can schedule something on Twitter, and it'll also let me know the best time to post according to our followers and when they're online at the most opportune time. And it does that for every social platform, which is great. So we can schedule, we can clone posts for resharing, we can respond to DMs and comments, and we get to see trends and analytics, which is just great and very helpful and makes our jobs a little bit easier, which is nice. So after you have your social media management tool and you've got your KPIs, next you need to have a strategy. So having a social media strategy will help your organization stay focused on objectives and allow for more participation, more engagement, and more amplification of your posts across your stakeholders. And a way to help you with that is to, here's a great exercise, fill in the blank. The type of original content that we will create and post is, and then you can have a brainstorm with your team to say, like, what is the original content that we want to create and post, and how can we get there, and how can we post it? The type of content that we will share, is it going to be a photo, a video, a story? Is it a blog? You'll post the following channels this frequently. Are you going to post them like 3 times a week? Or are you going to post them whenever your audience is online the most, according to the tools? Just some great ways to help you, brainstorm and figure out to have a strategy and how you're going to bring this all together, which a calendar can help you with, creating a content calendar, which is what we do. And we actually have a content calendar built into Sprout Social, which helps. But if you don't have that, you can just create one in Google Sheets. So here's just an example of Google Sheets for something that it's an example of, like, Monday through Saturday, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn schedule, and you can put in whatever you want for hours and for days of the week. And then you just fill in the blanks, when you talk to your team and you figure out, we want to do Motivation Monday, or we want to do like Wellness Wednesday, Throwback Thursday, these themes. Or if you just have something like at UNH, we have UNH Sci-Fi. So every Friday we share something from our science or research department, which is great. But having a calendar can help you or be organized better and get to your strategy a lot easier. And then once you have your strategy and you go through the motions and you're posting things, always go back and ask these questions, to refine it, to make it better. You can always be better. We strive to be better every single day on the job. We want to be better tomorrow than we are today. And this is how we get there. We want to know what we learned. We want to know what worked well on social, what didn't work well, what do we not want to do again, what fell flat. There are some things that don't work, you adjust. What are your goals this month, and what are the new goals going to be next month? You might say, like, okay, our engagement rate this month was 4%. We want to get to 5 next month. These are great because then you have these goals to get to, and it can just help you strategize. So changes we'll make on our social media strategy based on learnings are fill in the blank. It's just some great ways to help refine the strategy. And yes, hashtags are overused. I'll be the first to say it. We know it. People use hashtags for commenting, emotions, a lot of things, but they still can help us search and find things. You don't want to go too crazy. I would say 2, 3 max, but if you are posting as a department or as an organization, they still do work. And these are our trending hashtags that we use. We like to use the main one, UNH. Once thought of as University of New Haven many years ago. We have made several calls. We've talked to them, very friendly down in Connecticut, and they are using a hashtag U New Haven now from the school, so we can use UNH because, well, we're also a lot larger than they are. And anyway, it's all good. Insta UNH, we like to use if people are posting photos of campus on Instagram. This is UNH is a great way to just say, own it. And whatever we post, we like to say, this is UNH, come here. This is what you can do. So it's like a very positive, uplifting hashtag. I believe in UNH a lot with athletics, our alumni, and then 22 and 26. 22 is our graduating seniors class, and 26 will be coming here in the fall. So we like to use those hashtags the most. They trend the most of the classes. Go UNH is another athletics one, and then UNH Together we've been using ever since the pandemic and the COVID-19 arrived. So hashtags do still work. Just be careful how you use them. And then know your limit. So when you are posting these platforms, how much text do you want to put in your Facebook post, in your Instagram or your Twitter? You don't want to post too much text that you get the read more tag, because almost 10 times out of 10, no one is going to click the read more link to expand the text in your post. So by keeping it to the proper length for text and for video and photo, your engagement will increase. And so these 2 links you can use. They'll send you to a website that shows you the proper length for each social platform, and the proper length of videos. So it helps us. We use it. It always updates every month or so. They update these websites, but it helps us a lot, and it does increase engagement if you do stick to these rules. And what are the benefits of video? There's a lot, but video, it gives personality. It inspires confidence to your followers, your stakeholders. It builds trust by using video, because then it's more authentic and people can watch the video and listen to students and staff and faculty in their own words. It increases click-through rates, and it increases brand awareness, because people are more likely to comment and share on a video than they are just on text or photo. Also, authentic content from students helps tremendously. You might be aware of some of these things. We do Trivia Tuesday. We have Cat Chats on Friday, where we have our students go around campus and just ask random students a question, and we put on our University of New Hampshire Instagram every Friday. We also have a This Is UNH Takeover series on Instagram. And we have a Giphy page, which is the address is below here on the slide, giphy.com/UofNH. We have a great student team. We have interns. A lot of them are seniors from the Paul College, some marketing majors. It's great. And here is the This Is UNH Takeover series, which is great. We were talking about authenticity earlier. Well, these are students at UNH that showcase their Wildcat pride through this series. So it's more than a day in the life. We ask them to not only introduce themselves and their background, where they're from, but what they're studying, and then just take us through a day on campus. And it's been great. We've gotten a lot of folks have applied, and you might be well aware of this, but if you aren't and you want to get involved, just visit our Instagram site. There's a link on there where you can apply and do a takeover either this semester or next, and we'd love to have you join us. Just a couple more things here. Another way to increase our stakeholders and our engagement, we create a podcast. We are in season 4 of our podcast. Season 4 is very, we only had a few because of COVID. We have a podcast studio on campus, but with a lot of people on and off campus, we're trying to work through some software to make that more remote focused. But we do have 3 complete seasons. We talk to students, staff, and faculty. It's a great podcast. It's available on Apple, Google, and Spotify. Speaking of Spotify, we have our own Spotify account with playlists. We have a soundtrack for every Wildcat, and they're created by our student interns. They talk to other students. They have polls. They ask questions on social media, and they create these really great updated podcasts for everything from studying, or exercising, or even like a walk in college woods. So some really good stuff there. And we have a TikTok. Not every university has a TikTok account yet. We've had this for a little while, and it's grown very fast. And we've had some really great sort of viral TikToks, but our students create some great stuff. They're very creative in this, and this is something we want to continue. And we've been working with partners at the Paul College to do one every Wednesday, and our admissions friends to do one every Thursday. And now we're in talks with athletics to try and do one every Friday, so that we can share the wealth on the UNH TikTok account, which is great. And I want to leave you with this. Remember, content is the means by which you create engagement. What you post, what you create, that's very important, and that's how engagement grows. It is with us anyway, so very important stuff. And lastly, I talked at the beginning, I do run this blog, hesmcommunity.com. If you want to go there and just check it out, it's some interviews with people in my position at Notre Dame, University of Mississippi, other schools. Anyway, thank you so much. And for more, you can visit unh.edu/social. It has a lot of stuff on there, including how to stay safe on social media, which is very important these days. And I know we have some Q&A and some chat.
Yeah. Hey, Jason, this is Tom again.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Doing well, thanks. I had a question. We do have a couple in the chat. One you already answered, or in the Q&A. One you already answered, which was how do we, which social listening tools do you use? And you already covered that. And I had a question of my own, and this
Sure.
came from our previous session where JC talked about how Hollister considered their TikTok to be what they called top of funnel, that it was kind of be able to reach a really broad audience. Do you have sort of a way that you think of your social media or sorting it out maybe in terms of the funnel? Because, based on kind of just getting people there versus, actually trying to get, some of the other metrics you talked about, engagement, commitment, or even getting students to enroll or whatever, or to apply?
Yeah. So we use the main brand, mainly for an awareness campaign day to day. And then we have the UNH students accounts, which is students talking to students. We have the admissions, which is where we are trying to engage and get students and their parents to not just enroll, but very basic stuff like sign up for either a virtual tour or an in-person tour or a driving tour. We have a new one. You can sit in your car and drive around and listen to audio. So each channel or each platform we have, whether it's admissions focused, student focused, the main brand, or alumni, that is where we dive deeper into that funnel you're saying. Whereas with admissions, yes, we're trying to get them to click on a link. Whereas the main brand, we're trying to get them to just be aware of UNH. So when they do see maybe a digital ad from admissions, they're going to click on that and take the tour or something like that. So kind of, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, I was just curious, and particularly just because we talked about that we're getting more involved with TikTok and just sort of where that sort of it seemed like we're pretty heavy into Instagram and some others, but the TikTok being new, sort of where you kind of what's the role you see that playing in sort of reaching our various stakeholders.
Yeah, TikTok reaches our current audience would be high school students and college or university students. That's the main audience right now. It's growing a little bit older, but right now the key audience, looking at the numbers, is 14 to 23. So that's where TikTok, we try and put a lot of videos that are just positive about UNH, showing the campus mostly. And that's how we're gonna to kind of take the students to sign up for a tour and then bring them into the funnel from there.
Yeah. And in terms of how we get our TikTok content, are you looking for videos that students are creating or student organizations are creating, or are you sort of creating and developing the content through your office?
Yeah, so we create the content through our office, but what we do is it's not just up to me, it's up to the student team, because they're in that age group. They know what's trending. They have their own TikTok accounts, personal ones, and they know what songs are trending or when to post. And so we work with our students on it, but we also work in-house with our photo and video team, because we don't want it to look polished, because that's not what TikTok's all about. But they actually just help us with guidelines and how to do better transitions and things like that. But the students are the ones that come up with the trends and what's working, and we meet every Monday to go over that.
Yeah, that was one of the things that JC mentioned in our previous session, was that the TikTok isn't supposed to be polished. It's supposed to be a little raw, and
Right.
And to what degree? I know, like we had, I know, like we use like our one, the famous ocean spray with the ocean spray TikTok with the skateboard and the Fleetwood Mac, and we did some work with that where we sort of parodied that. Did that come from your office, or?
Yes, it did. Yeah, actually, one of our alumni is the CEO of Ocean Spray. It was just funny. So we tried to, we did an interview with him about that and his reaction. So we thought, let's do one of these. So we came up with our own. We worked athletics. We got the mascot and we created the whole thing. And then we wrote a story around it. We called him for comment on the original one and our version. And it all came together that way through our office. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really fun. Those are really fun to watch. And it's funny how even something like that takes off on something like TikTok. It was interesting. Again, in the session previous to us, JC was from Hollister, and Hollister has a campaign called Tiny Jeans. And somebody did a TikTok using a Tiny Jeans drinking, going down on a mini skateboard with a little mini Ocean Spray and Fleetwood Mac. So it's just funny how those things just go forever, it seems.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. There was one other question. It's from an anonymous attendee, but it says, why does UNH post student stories to a separate account instead of the main one? So I'm not.
Yeah. That's a good question. And the reason is basically security, really. So we don't want to give the keys to the UNH Instagram to students and to just have the password out there, because IT wouldn't like that either. So we created a separate account. This is UNH on Instagram, which we promote a lot. And that one, we have one of our students works with all the takeovers when they apply and they sign up. We meet up with them to do a proper headshot and a bio. And then once it's the morning of their takeover, we change the password on the This is UNH account and give that to the student for the day, with our student monitoring the background. And when they're all done, they text the student when they're done, and then we take it back from them. So it's just all about security right now. Just trying to stay safe. Sure. And so the password's not out there.
Yeah, of course, there's always a lot of a lot of room on social media for errant ways and people who aren't, people want to come in and try to sabotage what you're doing, hack in one way or another. And if a student, do you have more room for more takeovers this year, or if a student wanted to, would they how do they sign up?
Yeah, so if they just go to unh.edu/social, there are some large icons there. One is the takeover. Just click on that, and there's a form to fill out, and it goes to me and our student team, and then we'll be in touch for a day that works for both of us.
Okay, great. Well, we are at the end of our time, and I think we're at the end of our questions. And first off, I certainly want to thank you again for taking your time. I know that that this has been a pretty quick turnaround from your arrival. And again, we thank you for being willing to sit down and share with us today. It was a very informative session. Really enjoyed learning all the things that we were able to learn here. It's a lot packed into a half hour, but yeah. We're so anyway, again, thank you very much for this. And great. And for everyone who's been on the symposium this morning, I want to say thank you for your attendance today. It's been exciting to have everybody here and to be able to go through these two sessions.